Sorry, I have to, my presentation is not working exactly as planned, so if you just bear with me. My name is Joel Posluns, and I'm the Chief Instructor and Managing Director of a BC registered not-for-profit martial arts dojo on the North Shore. I've been a regular practitioner for almost 4 decades, and I don't mean once or twice a week. I practice 5 or 6 days a week, and I've done so since 1973, and I turned professional in 1991 in San Francisco. I opened up my first dojo in California. So, as I'm going to try and represent a different side of the coin, I guess you guys can look at me as the halftime entertainment. Today I want to describe why the UFC and other promotional syndicates should be denied their request to stage MMA prize fights in the city of Vancouver. You'll have to just bear with me because I have to go back and forth. Anecdotally, 8 out of 10 people, at least on the North Shore, don't want this. I don't know if you guys have done any research in terms of this, but when I talk to people, and the people that I see in the industry, in my part of the industry, in the traditional martial arts industry, are absolutely dead set and opposed to this. And please, let's separate between the UFC and marketing syndicates and MMA practitioners. It's a different thing. Unfortunately, they've been used interchangeably, and I don't think that's the right way to approach it. Anybody should be able to practice whatever they want, as long as it's legal, as long as they're not hurting people, as long as they're not injuring people, then everybody should be free to do what they want. But the problems I'm going to address of UFC and other of these promotional syndicates, I think will be pretty straightforward. So, number one, I think there's a sort of denial on the part of the UFC and I guess some of the MMA practitioners on the negative impact on society caused by the over-sensationalization of violence that's inherent in these UFC prize fights. We're becoming anesthetized to violent action images. You talk to any school teacher, and I have many teachers who are my students, and I've seen this over the years, that the increase in violence is directly related to the images they see on TV, and especially through cable and that sort of thing. So one clip I wanted to play for you, if I can get to it. Let me just get my files up here. Yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, thanks. All right, so let's go with graphics. Here we go. Can we get the sound? Anyways, this was the promo for the UFC fight in Montreal. I'm sorry you're not hearing the audio, but it hardly matters. So this is their promotion. And as you can see with the animation, the guy turns into a skeleton like he's been x-rayed. So you really have to say, if a picture says 1,000 words, what do you think this is saying? This is saying somebody's going to get hurt or somebody's going to die. At the very worst, they're going to get pummeled. It's not very attractive. All right, if I can continue with my presentation. Okay, so number one, the UFC does not have appropriate protective equipment, and the techniques that they use are potentially life-threatening. To assume that a referee or tap out by a contestant will stop the damage inflicted with these dangerous practices is absurd. Please note in this clip I'm going to show you from Portland this summer, a contestant was rendered unconscious by a chokeout. They tapped out, but the choke was not stopped in time by the ref, and the contestant is convulsing in front of the audience, and the announcer seems somewhat amused by it. So, somewhat of a gross scene, but please prepare yourself for it.
Mr. Posluns, I just want to remind you that you have a maximum of 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm going as fast as I can, sorry. There it is. Is this it? No, this is not it. Sorry. Sorry. They were supposed to go up automatically. Unfortunately, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Give me 1 sec, just to find the right clip. Oh, here it is. No. No. Sorry. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my presentation. At any rate, I'm going to go on. These are some of the TKOs from Montreal. So this is what you're going to see in Vancouver. And this guy doesn't even know if it's over yet. He asked the ref if it's over. Oh. All right. This is another TKO from. There he goes. Elbow to the face.
Mr. Posluns, that is your time.
Yeah. All right. So let me just go back to my final slide then, please, if you don't mind. I'd like to just finish my half-done presentation at any rate. Here's the issue that I would make, and that is, go to my final slide. All right. Whoops. Oh yeah, one quick thing about this. All right. If you consider Vancouver as a brand, you've put so much money and so much effort into promoting a positive image through things like the Olympics. I just can't see why you would want to discount by having this kind of activity associated with your brand. So my call is for a City of Vancouver declare a UFC-free zone. You have a nuclear-free zone here because we don't accept the idea of toxic materials passing through our city. We also don't want toxic values of UFC events based on materialism and promoting violence to be a part of our cityscape. You know, my presentation is not quantitative.
Thank you, Mr. Posluns. That is your time, but you do have some questions
Sure,
from
go ahead.
Some councillors. Councillor Jang?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Posluns, for coming. I recall you sent me several emails, and I looked at your presentation you sent me. I read everything you sent me, watched the videos, and I've been watching UFC and everything else to get a full understanding of it. And thank you for your passion and you know, coming forward. And you're not the sideshow. I want to tell you that. Okay, so let's make that clear. One thing that was very clear from your presentation that you sent to us and what you obviously presented here is the whole issue of sensationalism. Mm-hmm. And you're worried about, you know, kids or other people picking up on this and, you know, getting into violent acts, mm-hmm. kind of imitating, if you like. Mm-hmm. But you run a dojo for karate?
Aikido.
Aikido, okay. And but there's lots of dojos for other martial arts. I'm Chinese, so we did kung fu and all that kind of stuff. And I thought back to about the 1970s or so, and people said the same thing about Bruce Lee. The game of death, the big boss, sensationalistic kind of things, but no one ever said kung fu was bad. Just keep that in your mind for a second. Mm-hmm. You're into Aikido, so what do you think of the samurai movies? You know, those are bloody, gory, heads flying around, swords play.
Yes, but there's still a movie, right? When you see a guy getting pummeled, and unfortunately I couldn't show you the chokeout because it's not here. You see the guy twitching on the mat because he's in convulsions because the ref didn't stop it in time?
Well, I've seen also professional matches for kung fu and all that kind of stuff where injuries happened as well. Mm-hmm. And I guess my point is, you know, going back to the key about sensationalism and kids or whatever, whoever, imitating this kind of stuff. You know, I think what made the difference between Bruce Lee, why that wasn't, or karate or Aikido, whatever, is because you have parents. So I'm a parent of 2 kids, and I sit and I say, okay, it's just as you said, this is a fantasy, or here are the rules, where if you're going to get involved in this, I think this is where parents have to be involved. Do you agree?
100%. But I also found running an Aikido studio 2 doors away from the biggest kickboxing studio in the country, I see the difference between the kids that go there and the families that go there and the kids and families that come here.
So you don't like kickboxing? You don't like kickboxing either?
Well, the kickboxing and MMA, that they have the similar issues, and talking about the liability issues. I think you guys need to realize that on the amateur level, while I have to get insurance, liability insurance, the kickboxing and MMA studios cannot get traditional insurance through the traditional unless they self-insure.
That is the issue.